Hey there, my name is Madge and this is my garden in the city of Pittsburgh. Welcome. Today we're fixing to throw a party. This is the first party we will be throwing since we moved in last spring, and I can't wait to share this beautiful garden with all of our friends and family, including some really yummy garden produce. But there's a lot to do to make this place company ready. It's a little messy, so we got to do some tidying up. We have some planting to do, some harvesting, some cooking, some decorating, but I'm hoping that the end result will feel warm and inviting and maybe even a little magical. But yeah, lots to do today, so let's get to it. Well, the bad news is our side yard is a big old mess again, but there's a good reason for it. We are setting up a new yellow GreenStalk. Those who have been here for a while know that I've been coveting a yellow GreenStalk ever since they came out. And a couple weeks ago, they announced that the color was going to be discontinued and they put them on sale. So I pounced. And I wanted the yellow one specifically because I think it looks really cute with my yellowish colored beds here in the side yard.
We have set up GreenStalks together before. It's pretty easy. You basically just fill them with soil, plant them out, and stack them up. This one I have on a rotating base, which makes it really easy to do all of those things. And I am planting it with some of the snapdragons we started about a month ago to overwinter. I have learned a couple of tips about planting out GreenStalks that is making it a little easier for me that I wanted to share with you. First of all, to me, the easiest way to do it is to put the bottom tier on whichever base you're using, fill it, plant it, and then put the next tier on top while it's still empty. Then repeat the process, fill it, plant it, and then stack up the next one. This makes it so that you're not having to carry around a bunch of heavy tiers that are all full of soil. And also, when it comes time to stack the next tier on top of the tier that you just planted out, it's a lot easier to do when that top tier is empty and weighs less. You can see I'm planting little baby plants right here, and if I have to try to balance and position a full tier of soil on top of that, I'm gonna really have a risk of crushing these babies. So I recommend stack it empty, then fill it and plant it. I've also realized that when you're putting these together, it's pretty important to try to keep the soil in the actual planting part and keep it out of the center hole, keep it out of this gray watering disc. Because the way the GreenStalk works is you put water in the top and then it drips down through all of these tiers to get to the soil all the way to the bottom. And if any of the holes are blocked along the way, the water will not make it. So I'm covering this hole with a closed bottom planter just to keep the soil out of the middle. All right, so I've got the whole thing filled and I've got several tiers planted, and now I am adding the water reservoir on top. And you can see there's these little clips in the edge of each tier that allow it to connect to the tier below. And then once I've got this water reservoir on top, I'm going to put on my cute little lid with the bee, and then we are ready to roll with this GreenStalk.
Good morning. It's the next day. It's the day of the party. My husband just did the last of the shopping that needed to be done, and I'm going to get to tidying up. But first, I want to show you our GreenStalk all planted out. So I didn't plant anything in the top tier yet. This is where I'm going to put those zinnia cuttings that we took last week once they develop a little bit more roots. But the second tier, I planted some zinnia seedlings that were in this bed that were just kind of getting shaded out by other stuff. So they look a little bit sad this morning, but the stems are still sturdy. They're still standing. So hopefully they come back to life. In the third and the fourth tier, I planted out some of the snapdragons that we started together for overwintering a couple of weeks ago. They got really big really fast, and they kind of just needed to be planted out. And I have a bunch of these on the go. So this is kind of an experiment. I want them to get established. We'll see if they like overwintering in the GreenStalk. But I have a couple other trays of this variety, just in case it doesn't work out. And then the bottom tier, I planted some baby bok choy seedlings, and I think they're going to be all right. They look pretty happy in their new home. That is looking pretty cute with these raised beds. Look at all those zinnias down there. And check this out. The hollyhocks that we've been babying since, I don't know, when did I start these? March? They're about to bloom. We don't really have any good outdoor storage space right now for all this ugly stuff that we need pretty often, but it's not nice to look at. We do have a garage underneath the deck, but to get there you have to go down a big flight of steps and then about half a block. So it's not ideal for stuff that you need to access often. So I'm thinking that next year, this corner where we planted this raised bed, we're getting a few flowers out of here, but it's not really as sunny as flowers need it to be happy. So I'm thinking that next year we're going to move this raised bed somewhere sunnier and maybe plant a big 6 foot by 6 foot hydrangea, like right here along the path. And then this area in the corner will be screened and we can hide all of our ugly stuff behind there. But for today, I think the best I can do is just consolidate the ugly things. I'll put all the bags and stuff back here in this corner, and the pots and the tools we will stack up probably in this corner, maybe some stuff up on the deck underneath the elevated raised beds because there's a shelf under there. It's not the best place to keep things because water does come through those elevated beds and stuff under there can get a little bit dirty, but it's what we have, so it's what we'll use.
It turned out to be a pretty good exercise to gather up all the various bags of mulches and soil and what have you from around the property, because it turns out we had more than I thought, and now I will be able to use it all before I feel like I have to go buy more. Seeing that we had so many bags of potting soil that were already open, I decided to go ahead and replant some of the mint plants that I had on my front porch rail. There was a couple of them that were just busting out of their pots, and I wanted to put them in plastic pots instead of terracotta pots because terracotta pots have a tendency to break when you try to overwinter stuff in them here. So I replanted this apple mint, which really just wants to be a lot bigger than the tiny pot was letting it be. I like using apple mint in bouquets because it has a cute foliage and a really pretty spring green color and a nice smell. So I used up some of these open bags of potting soil and I made some mint plants much, much happier.
The side yard is looking pretty good now. Ready for company. Now to tackle the porch.
I haven't really showed y'all much of my porch because truly, since we moved in, it's been some sort of disaster. This is what it looked like for the first 3 or 4 months that we were here. And then I spent a little bit of time and got it looking like this. But since then, it's gotten a little bit more messed up as packages have arrived and plants have come and plants have gone. So since we're going to have people over, I wanted to make a nice, pretty, clean entryway for them. Of course, I had to start by clearing a bunch of crap out of there, organizing some of the things that, again, we don't have great storage for. Like, for instance, I have a big roll of cardboard sitting up on the porch. I don't really want to leave that out where it's going to get wet because I need it to be dry until I'm ready to use it. So the porch is going to remain somewhat of a storage area, but we can at least make it a little safer to traverse and a little less fugly when people are coming into our home, mostly for the first time. Somehow I have 3 or 4 pairs of gardening gloves hanging out on the front porch as well. I don't know, y'all. We are all doing our best. But this is the fun part. I get to use the leaf blower to clean out all the filth that has collected in the corners and behind all of the stuff on this porch. And you can see as I am using this cute little electric, not very loud leaf blower, my rugs are kind of floating up. So the next thing I want to do after I'm done getting all the dirt and dust out of here is I want to make sure that no one is going to trip on these rugs. So I am pulling out some houseplants and some planters to sort of overlap over the edge so that the rugs stay flat and no one trips and falls and hurts themselves. I'm also putting some houseplants on the little table just to make it look cute. So that's a feverfew that I just put at the top of the steps there. And now I'm going to go grab my big Rudbeckia triloba and put it up there as well. Now I'm up on the deck setting up the solar string lights. I am just draping them around the GreenStalks and through some of the other planters. And this ends up being one of the most magical parts of the evening, just with the lights glowing in amongst all the plants. It was super sweet. When they came on at dusk, we all cheered. At first, I had the solar panel you can see at the bottom of the frame. I had the solar panel that powers these lights stuck in the ground. But then I realized the solar light set came with a little clip, so I could attach the solar panel to the deck rail, which actually works out a lot better because it won't be blocked by any vegetation, so it'll get a lot more sunlight. Plus, it'll be a lot easier for us to adjust it and also to control it with the little remote that it came with.
It is looking pretty nice out here, friends. Got a little bit of trash to take down the garage, but everything else is looking tidy and cute. The bees are all obsessed with the lime basil, rightly so. And look at all these tomatoes still to come. I stopped harvesting flowers a couple of days ago because I wanted to enjoy them out here. And it is looking stunning. I've never had more flowers in the garden. My husband did a lot of weed whacking of the cover crops back here, the bok choy, the mustard, the daikon radishes. They were getting eaten by insects anyway, so he just took them out. And it's looking very tidy and cute and colorful. The last outdoor task on my list is to tidy up this deck because there's just some stuff laying around and I'm anticipating we're going to be hanging out here after dark. So let's go get after it.
I'm going to start by setting up these IKEA trestles so that my husband can put a desktop on here and bring out his turntable and play records for us later. I'm also extending our garden table, which takes me a couple of minutes to figure out how to do, and putting around all of these chairs. I got, I think, 8 of these chairs from a lady on Facebook Marketplace for like $5 each, and she even delivered them. So that was a pretty good deal. They are not beautiful, but they do hold up to the elements. And now I'm just going through and dealing with the stuff that's on the table, and I'm just trying to straighten up all of the things that are on the shelf underneath the plants because it's a little chaotic down there right now, and I just want it to look nice for my guests. So you can see there's a lot of empty pots and seed sowing trays down there. There's some bottles of fertilizer. There's a whole bunch of coco coir. So I'm just gathering up all the trash, putting things where they go, and making it as tidy as I can. Now I'm starting to sweep, but I'm realizing that there is a lot of stuck stuff on the deck. So I'm kind of just loosening it with the broom. And then I'm going to come back up with my handy dandy leaf blower and get it all off the floor.
It's hot out here. There's still a few things to do up on the deck. We want to set up a fan to keep the bugs away. We have to bring out the music, and I still need to wipe off those chairs. But all that stuff can wait for a little bit. I'm gonna go do some work inside now and cool off.
Y'all, I did a very poor job of documenting the food that we served, but I at least wanted to tell you about it. So my husband made some jalapeno popper dip from these fresh peppers that you see here. There was also a fresh tomato salad that we served with buttered baguettes and tomato sandwiches on soft potato bread with, don't mind the dishes, this nice crispy bacon for the folks who weren't vegetarian. We also had something called a devil dog, which is a hot dog with egg salad, green onions from the yard, crushed potato chips, and Tabasco sauce. Nobody left hungry. There were very few leftovers. We all kind of ate ourselves silly, and it was a blast.
All right, people have started to arrive, and I needed to capture some footage because this is the best the garden's ever looked.
The pathway up from the street to the front door was clear, no tripping hazards. And the side yard, honestly, it's never looked better. It has the least amount of trash and the most amount of flowers that it's ever had the whole season. It does my heart good to see all those zinnias, y'all. Coming through the gate, all of the ugly stuff, we just passed it. We don't have to look at it anymore. And everything else is looking fresh as a daisy, tidy and organized. And look, this beautiful hibiscus decided to put on a little show for everybody. People were hanging out here all night. There were some intimate conversations happening in the sit-in corner. We also took a bunch of pictures back there. And as the sun started to go behind the house next door, everyone started migrating up to the deck. These white Thunbergia glow in the dusk. I don't know how I never noticed that before. But yeah, once the sun was down, we got the music going. My husband was spinning records. We had a fan blowing, and we just all sat up here cackling like witches until it was late at night. Oh yeah, I gotta get rid of this plant. Hold on a second. No dead plants up here, y'all. Only good vibes.
We are ready to party. I'll check in with y'all later.
And I was like, so grinding. Like right behind me, I was like, I can't do that. And then it pulled up, and I was like, I was afraid to
My friends just left. We had a wonderful time. It was so much fun.
I did not want to stick a camera in all my friends' faces when we were trying to just relax and have a good time, but I did have to document what it was like sitting up on the deck. It was just magical. And as always, I'm going to leave you with some bouquets from the week. This one was so pretty and pastel and romantic. I just loved her. And here she is from another angle, so you can really see that beautiful bright green celosia coming through. This one might have been my favorite from the week just because I love all of the dark purples and greens playing together, especially when both colors are in the same zinnia. Super mind-blowing. And here she is from the top too. Those black flowers on top are the Black Knight scabiosas. And yeah, I love how they play with the magentas and the greens and the blurple. Fun fact, that blurple ageratum, I've used it in 3 different bouquets now. It never dies. Ooh, and here are some chocolate morning glories. The groundhog did not get these, and I'm really glad that we're finally getting to see what they look like. It's such a beautiful mauvey purpley color. Gorgeous. This one was so bright and vivid. I'm really happy to have such a variety of colors coming in the garden right now. For a while there, it was all pastels, and now I'm getting some brights and some darks, and it really just lets me play with contrast, and I love that. I loved getting to share all of my flowers in the garden and the food with our friends and family. It had been way too long, and I can't wait to do it again. So anyway, y'all, I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for enjoying my garden party with me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one, friends. Bye for now.